Welcome to my channel, Life with Annalise. I am in my greenhouse and it is such a gloomy day, but I have time right now, so I'm going to do a video for you guys. You know, I'm in California, zone 9B. It's October now, which is still supposed to be autumn season, but apparently we have skipped over autumn or fall weather and went right into winter. We are seeing about 40-ish, I think as low as 45 degrees at night, and I'm gonna get ballsy and leave all my plants outside this year instead of moving them inside my house. It's just I've accumulated so many plants over the past 2 years. It's just too much effort bringing them in, but you know, I think my plants are going to be hardy after all this. What did they say about that? What won't kill you will make you stronger, or only the strongest and fittest will survive? I'm going to apply that to my plants, and hopefully once they do go to their next home, they won't be so fussy. Alright, so in this video today, I am gonna go through all the Ceropegia Woodii varieties that I do own, and kind of share with you guys some exciting news that I found. Enough of my rambling, let's get right into it. Let's start off with regular string of hearts. I brought out the pot that have been in my home. There is a difference in appearance compared to the pots that I kept out in my greenhouse. My observation is that in general the leaves are bigger overall, and it is more green in the front and back of all the leaves. The spacing between the leaves on the strands are a little bit separated. I suspect that it's because in my house they're not getting as much sun exposure as the pots that I've kept out in my greenhouse. Here's a pot that I've kept out in the greenhouse. The leaves are very sun stressed. Some of them, like you can see here, have turned purple on the back side. And as you can see, the leaves are closer together on the strands. Let's see if I can do this with one hand here where I turn this leaf over. And how can I show you guys here? Here's the green on the other one. You see the color difference? I also noticed that the pots that I've left outside have so many more flowers. I've spent countless hours out in the greenhouse just plucking these flowers off. I also wanted to share with you guys in regards to the flowers, it does pay off to leave some on the plant and also to leave the plant outside, because as you guys can see, I've got seed pods. This was the exciting news that I wanted to share with you guys. We'll get into this a little bit later when we talk about propagations. Let's go into a different variety. This is the Orange River, and the leaves are less heart-shaped I would say it's more elongated compared to the regular string of hearts. You know, I am going to insert some photos of side-by-side shapes of the leaves for different varieties, so you guys can also see the difference. And these are my variegated string of hearts. I'll show you one in a little bit where you can see the flowers and a surprise. Look at this all white strand right here. This pot has really high variegation. Now this one is called the Silver Glory. The way you can tell the difference is they do have more of a silvery, less grain on the leaves. It's more of a flatter silver color, and also the shape is more rounded. It kind of resembles butt cheeks. What do you guys think? It's very cute and different. But the growth pattern, I would say, is very similar to the regular string of hearts. I've kept this outdoors, and so the leaves are closer together. So that is the Silver Glory, and as you can see, let me flip it over. Some are green in the back, but if you give it enough sun exposure, the back of the leaves will turn purple, like the other pot that you saw. This is, I believe, the string of spades. There is also a string of arrows, which it's more narrow and elongated than this leaf. I don't really like the string of spades or arrows or needles, just because I fell in love with the Ceropegia Woodii because of the heart-shaped leaves. Let's talk about the variegated string of hearts that I do own. This one have a few flower, but the one that I have the most flowers is this one. And I actually found 2 seed pods on my mother plant. Let me see if I can get it to focus here. Do you guys see that? I wanted to keep these outdoors since I saw some seed pods in my other ones. Originally, I did bring this one inside the house, but once it started to bloom, I wanted to keep it outside so then the leaves can get pollinated, and voila, I got a seed pod. I believe there was like another one on here. Let me try. Oh, there it is. Another one. See, you guys, I'm so excited that I have a seed pod. Let's talk about propagation. You can propagate string of hearts by number 1, tubers. Let me show you the tubers. I did pluck one from the soil so I can show you in this video. Tubers. So tubers look like this. They can reside in the soil, or they can actually grow on each of these butterfly leaves. You see a node here. Sometimes the tuber will develop and you would just plop them into the soil and it will grow this big. So that's one way of propagating tubers. Another way is through butterfly cuttings. And I've got one right here to show you guys. I've already cut it, so where the node is between the two leaves, I would cut the stems on each side. And you can use several substrate or media to propagate. I typically will do a butterfly cutting like this and plop it right into soil mixed with peat moss. I've also heard people doing just peat moss or perlite in baggies or water propagation. There's so many ways of propagating these succulent plants. But here's an example of my butterfly propagations in this pot. And you know, this was just maybe about 6 or 8 weeks ago. You can see that there's so many plantlets growing out. When you do choose to do propagation, do choose the mature big leaves because they do thrive quickly and the success rate of propagation is high. Let's go back to this regular string of hearts where you see so many seed pods and they are very big. I mean, look at it in my palm. It's like a V. Here's another one. I've never planted seed from a seed pod before, but I am willing to try. I believe all you do is wait for these to dry up and you would pop it open. There will be black seeds in here that you can again propagate with different substrate or media. I will get into doing that once my variegated string of hearts, the seed pod, gets bigger, and I will update you. It's exciting to have this, but honestly, I'm just not patient enough to grow any plant by seed. It takes a very long time compared to just cutting the leaves and propagating it by the butterfly method. You know, at least you see the leaves, and then shortly after that, new plantlets will grow, tubers will form, and all that will take place within a month's time if you do that during the growth season, which is spring and summer. That's also during the time when I fertilize my variegated string of hearts. So this is the Silver Glory that are babies. What you guys are seeing here are my variegated string of hearts in 4-inch pots that are ready to go to its new home or available to purchase. And let me just pop on over to the ones that I propagated recently. They're not ready yet. You can see that the propagated leaves are healthy. It has thickened up, and there's a healthy amount of plantlets growing out of them. That's a good example there. And look at this one. I propagated this. Let me grab this. I propagated this and I wasn't sure if it was going to survive because of the all white leaf, but it started growing new leaves that will start out blush pink, and it's going to be all white as well. You know, the variegation is very random and it's not stable, so I'm always afraid to propagate the all white leaves just because the chlorophyll is lacking and I am unsure if it'll be a success. But so far, so good. Hey, let's talk about the difference in variegation level. Which one do you prefer to have in your collection? The highly variegated or the less variegated version? Or do you just love the look of both? My favorite string of hearts would have to be the variegated one and Silver Glory. Alright, I am going to wrap up this video. Let's stay connected.